For the soul that knows that there's more to this life, you are going to love this episode of Help from Heaven. That's because joining me is my good friend, Constance Fox, who just happens to be an amazing soul communicator, channeler of higher consciousness. And thank you for joining me, Connie. And we have some great info for you to share today. So, last episode, we covered some really great topics. We talked about whether your soul chooses the life and all your lessons in it this time around and your soul family. We talked about miracles and how to attract those. We also got a couple homework assignments, kind of what's blocking us from being fully happy, which is our natural state of existence. And many of us can say we're not in that. But he did give us a couple cues of some things to think about, and we'll see if we touch on that later today. But let's get into this week's messages for you. And these are going to be channeled from, I believe, the Spirit of Jesus today, correct?
Yes. So Jesus again, he says, make amends with your past by forgiving everyone that hurt you, disappointed you, angered you, upset you, wronged you. And know that your soul chose every single one of those experiences. You are here to learn how to love yourselves and each other fully, to fullness, as I did, meaning Jesus, of course. You all will achieve that eventually. And people come into your lives to help you learn more compassion or more understanding or to clear karma or to develop spiritual qualities and the character of someone with spiritual qualities. And people help you develop that. Sometimes it's through hurtful experiences that develops that. So remember this always, that each of you have had many lifetimes. You do not know all of the things that you did that were so-called good or quote bad. And you're all evolving and growing and learning, like little children are growing up and learning how to behave properly, how to think properly, how to, develop their character, their heart. So it's the same. So remember this, if you feel you need some work on truly forgiving someone and even yourself. Sometimes that's ourselves. It's all a matter of increasing your awareness and learning how to be fully loving. This is a work in progress, like so to speak, and forgive the process. You're born in ignorance of who you are, and this creates many dysfunctional feelings, thoughts, behaviors, and you're all learning how to be your true selves, your soul selves, your God selves, perfect, divine children of God. You're all learning this. So forgive the process as well as each other and oneself. That's a good reminder.
So that's why spiritual growth is usually considered painful.
Good question. Yes, sometimes it can be painful to realize what you are doing that's hurting others or even hurting yourselves and other misgivings or mishaps. It's losing a part of yourself every time you realize more. Like the saying, dying daily, or, a little piece of the human ego identity needs to die, and a little more, and a little more, and a little more, until it's there. The ego's still there. If you're in a human body, it will always be there, but it does not thwart your perception at all anymore, nor then your behavior. All the fear is gone. All the feeling insecure, inferior, incomplete, separate from wholeness, fullness, God, and love. from perfection. So when that's not there anymore, predominating your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, you become self-realized and God realized. It's a good reminder too.
So they're growing pains, basically. Why do we have to have so many challenges though? Like it makes living not very fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like, why do we have to be born in ignorance? Why are we born in ignorance of who we really are and feeling separate from God, our creator, and each other? Divine Mother will answer that. Well, that's interesting.
Okay, so we have a new explain Divine Mother real quick for
Yeah, so this is not Mother Mary. This is, there's the male aspect of God, the creator, like the Heavenly Father. And then there's the feminine aspect of the creator, which some refer to as the Divine Mother. So this is Divine Mother, and that the quality of the creator, of the feminine, which is the caretaker, the nurturer, the giver. There's different qualities with the quote, the Father, the Heavenly Father. But this is Divine Mother, and she's saying, you're not separate. You're not incomplete. You're not inferior. You're not less than. You're not good enough. That is an illusory belief system that needs to be accepted as not truth, as the illusion that it is. You experience what you believe in. You experience what you believe is truth, what you believe is reality, what you believe in. And that is the cycle of reincarnation, the cycle of being reborn again in ignorance of who you are. You're stuck in your belief systems that are illusory. You're never separate from your creator. You're never separate from me. You're never separate from everyone else and everything else in existence. It truly is like trillions of miniature cells in a human body. Is the cell in one location of the body and the cell in another location of the body? It's still the same body. It's still the same one. Beliefs are hard to let go of because the identity does have to surrender some of itself to accept a new belief that's different from the identity formed. It's not easy for the ego to say, I was wrong, this is not true, and accept part of itself dying. That is what it's like. It's a slow process until your heart begins to awaken and desire God. Then the path, the momentum gets quicker. Well, I have to say, it feels like it's still extraordinarily slow when it gets to that point.
yeah.
I feel like I've been at that point for many, many years, since I was really 21 years old. And so it seems like it's still a slow path, Divine Mother, very slow. But I guess it's all relative. Who knows how slow I was going before. So
Question about why has reincarnation really been erased from a lot of religions? I mean, maybe a few Eastern religions still consider reincarnation, but a lot of those books, if they were in a Bible back in the day, they've been removed. Why?
all truth has been hidden, because if you know truth, you know that you are God. And when someone wants to be like God themselves, but from the ego, they want people controlled by them, fearful, and ignorant. If they're not ignorant, how can they, be enslaved? How can they be controlled? How can they be fearful?
So they want us dumbed down and compliant, basically.
Yes, yes, yes.
And does that go for religions then too?
Many of them, yes. Most of them, yes. When there's a religion formed, it automatically separates itself from everyone else. So it's not union based or unity based just to begin with. Calling itself, I'm a this and you're not. Unless you're one of us, you're not that. You're not with us. You're not as smart. You're not as good. You're not as loved. You're not as evolved. It automatically creates division just having a religion. Wow, I never thought of it that way, but that's so true. I mean, like, wow, if it's an
Yeah, you're not.
organization, a religion, unless they really teach different principles and teachings that's unity based rather than separation based, then yeah, I can see that.
So when certain religions say you just have to believe in Jesus as your savior and you're saved and there's like a spot in eternal heaven for you. Can Jesus comment, is that true? Like just my belief, like Lord is my savior and I can act like a total jerk to everybody else, or I think I'm better than everybody else because I'm saved just because I believe Jesus.
Right.
How does that work? Is that true? Is that a myth?
Your beliefs have nothing to do with true reality or your true self or God. Your beliefs are from the mind. Remember that. And the mind's thoughts and beliefs are just beliefs. There's a million of them, a trillion of them. Which one is right? Which one is wrong? They're all right for each individual because that's their own belief. Whatever it is, that's their reality. It's true for them. But I will say that that is not my teaching and never was. That's not what I taught when I was on earth either. I taught the opposite. The mind is not who you are. Your beliefs are not who you are. And you are all loved by our Father and me. And you will all become one in your awareness with me, with Father as one, and you again. It has to do with becoming more aware of truth, of who you are. This is direct experience. Believe anything you want to believe, but experience the truth of who you are means you have belief systems that are not important anymore and are not even valid or recognized as important. They are just beliefs from many people before you and that have just,
They're just kind of passed down and it's basically conditioning. Like that's what
yeah.
I was taught, so that's what I believe without really thinking about
Yeah,
it.
that's so true. It's just, yeah, it's what have we been taught from infancy on, from our culture, our teachers, our religions, our parents.
So with Jesus, it's really good to just question everything.
Awareness is the ultimate. Then you know. Awareness is knowing, the direct knowing. It's not believing, it's not having faith, it's not thinking this way or that way or this. Awareness is knowing. And increasing your awareness is really what the goal is with spiritual growth. And how do you increase awareness? Let go of all the beliefs you've been given.
Say that like that's really easy.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like quite a task.
Yeah, how do we accomplish getting rid of everything we've ever believed in?
Transcending the mind, transcending your thoughts and beliefs, not giving them so much credence anymore, not being so strongly and steadfastly, this is right and this is wrong, or this is how it is and this is how it's not. That will lighten up as you increase your awareness. You get less threatened by belief systems that are different than your own. You know, they're not that important anymore in time. And you simply want to feel the presence of God more within you. That's what you care about. Feeling the presence of God is joy, bliss, peace, comfort, love, harmony. It's the comforter. It's all that matters when you are aware of what that is through experience.
I feel like so many people are more addicted to power and control and greed and all these other negative where they put their self-interest above everybody else.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's sold unconditional love. It's a hard why are people why should they want to grow spiritually when they can feel all these other like power and control and ego, and I feel like a lot of people are addicted to that. Uh
right. The so-called satisfaction or excitement or quote external happiness that we get from the material world or
yes, I just
material
like
things or external
unconditional love
conditions or
is not that. I mean, yeah, people like to feel the positive feelings, but they also get a lot of crazy positive feelings off the fear-based ones, I think. I don't know, it just seems like it's a hard sell, spiritual
yeah.
growth. Like, why
And it
should
just
people
sounds
want
so,
to
oh,
grow?
just, to be in a full state of unconditional love.
Yeah,
Does
it
that
just seems
sound,
flighty
most
and
people,
airy.
can't even understand really the concept of that. Imagine feeling in a state of ecstasy every moment and never dwindling, never weakening, never slowing down or dying away or lessening. Feeling bliss consciousness is your true state of experience, a state of absolute love and joy and bliss, fearlessness. Imagine life with no fear. It is unimaginable until you develop that state of consciousness where you have transcended all fear. Imagine that, though, for a moment, what life is like knowing you have all the power and need none at the same time, that you are God choosing to experience in a human body right now, to enjoy the physical world and all of the pleasurable experiences it can give. Imagine being free of all dysfunctional thinking, behaviors, illness, lack, insecurities. It's hard to think of that, I know, but that is living your true pure state or self where all of fear-based creations don't exist anymore. And that includes negative emotions, judgments toward others and yourself.
I mean, that does sound kind of enticing to me now that he puts it that way. Obviously, I've never had that touch of bliss consciousness, but you have, right? Kind of you've experienced it.
Yes, numerous times, several plus times, but I was never able to maintain that higher state of consciousness for more than a few days at a time. But I've definitely had temporary experiences of it. And I attribute that just to being like an avid meditator for many years of my life, and I still meditate now. But there's certain times in my life where I was like in between jobs or had a really idyllic life during a certain period of time where I didn't have a lot of stress. My life was very conducive for spiritual growth. Um, so then I was able to, like, obviously my meditation and other spiritual practices were, I was able to get the full, more of the full benefit of it
Yeah, and you
than
had a lot
when,
more
yeah,
time
when you're
to
driving an
allow.
hour each day in rush hour traffic and you have a lot of stress and a high pressure job and you're exhausted every day, working 60 plus hours a week, and you're not able to eat as healthy as you would like, and just many things like that, that the working class in America, lifestyle um, lives. It's not very conducive for health, but also spiritual growth. And it really, yeah, kind of takes away from the benefits of various spiritual practices that normally do increase our consciousness.
But it's good to know that it's attainable.
Yes, that's something I have to say, because the first time I had that experience, and I just call it Some spiritual masters have called this like flavors of a higher state of consciousness, just temporary high flavors, even just who knows, I'm sure it was just a very partial experience of full God awareness. But after having even just one experience of a more direct experience of God awareness, or just even more so, or feeling the presence of God, as Jesus words it, awaken within me, would love for everyone to have that experience just for 30 seconds, because it would change their whole life and world. That alone would just change so much, because they know from that moment on where that happened to me for the first time, I knew what my true state is supposed to, like what I have to look forward to in the future eventually, like how we're really supposed to be experiencing life here on earth. And that God is always within us. It's an invisible energy, invisible power, force, life force, energy, whatever you want to call it, that's within all of us and animating all of us and giving us all life. And it can be awakened more within us, or it can be blocked by stress, fear, anger, not living life rightly, and so forth, many things. I would love to just ask, like, what Jesus maybe recommends for like someone, like, because so many people, I just feel bad. So many people have no idea, like they even go to church, or they, even like read spiritual books, or they have, a God in their lives or a higher power in their lives, but they've never had a direct experience of the presence of God at all. And they just really have no idea really what where we're all headed eventually, and what's available, and how we're really supposed to be feeling and living. I'm like, how do you, and I just, feel like if someone new had that experience for just a moment, I mean, it's just life changing.
Any advice on that?
Jesus said earlier, once your heart awakens for God a little bit, and he's talked about that before in the past years and stuff, like for Jesus, or you give that to someone, or their soul, or God, just awakens that spark of bliss consciousness, of love and devotion or desire for God, they're forever changed. So how do you induce that initial awakening to where they feel more of the presence of God within them? Their heart opens for love for God, or deeper, stronger love or devotion to God. Some people just go their whole lives and they don't really even know any of that. I didn't until I had that experience. So what do you recommend, Jesus, to help someone? Because just getting to that point is tremendous. It will happen automatically as you're ready. You are always being given everything you need at the level of consciousness you're at. When you're ready, you will have the direct experience. You will learn either meditation, or a different spiritual technique or exercise, or a different uh, um, spiritual learning or teaching that will feel right for you at that time, and that will increase your awareness and eventually create that little opening. But if you are consciously wanting more of God awareness, then follow my teachings in this course and other courses: the way, the roadmap to God consciousness, the hope technique. These are the three main teachings he's given us over the years. There's also others that have other spiritual classes, courses, teachings that are inspired by me, or other spiritual masters, or other divine beings. And there are many that speak to you in your own language or verbiage that you mesh with, or feel in alignment with, or are attracted to. You'll be given one of those at the right time, and then you'll naturally open up to it when you're ready. But consciously telling God every day, God, I love you, I want you, I need you, I miss you. Please awaken my heart and soul. I am ready for you. I want to wake up. Saying this every day will do so much more than you could imagine. Inviting God to awaken within you. You're asking God to awaken within you, and that will bring to you more of what you need to do exactly that. It will get you on the direct path immediately, the direct spiritual path toward God, the path toward God immediately by doing this every day, and keep you on that path directly by just saying that every day.
Beautiful. There'll be links to the courses that he just talked about. If you like and resonate with our messages, feel free to click on those and it'll take you to our courses. All right, let's get into our Ask Heaven segment where we take our viewers' questions via email, comments below. And this is from MB in Denmark. And it kind of aligns with what we just talked about of basically divine timing of just God will give you what you're ready for based on your consciousness as you kind of evolve throughout life. And she asks about timelines. And actually, I just want to kind of talk about the nature of time itself. Is all time happening at once? And can we jump from different timelines of like, oh, we made this choice, so now we're on this timeline? Like, how does time work?
Yeah, or are there parallel worlds?
Yes, or
Have you
like,
heard
are
that?
there,
Like,
yeah, are there
are there parallel
parallel
worlds where there's
timelines?
like 6 others of me and on a different planet or a different dimension experiencing life at the same simultaneously? Yeah, I've always wondered that too. Like, are there
Yeah,
parallel lives? And I don't know
let's
if this
talk
is it's the
about.
same question or a different question actually, but then also time. Yeah, it's hard to understand that because of course in this physical existence there's time. But in the spiritual realm, there's no such thing as time. Everything is happening. Everything's in the present moment constantly. Like it's never in the future. It's never in the past. And I guess that's how it is here, technically on Earth. But where our mind can be in the future or past. So we're often not in the present moment or in the
Right.
now. So maybe that's all we have even on Earth time, but that's not our perception because
But
our
it
mind is in the past or future a lot.
but it seems that we progress linearly through a timeline, like from zero to death. You know, we start at birth, we end at
Right.
death. Every
Yeah.
year we count. It just seems like it's moving in a line. But yeah, can Jesus just tell us about the true nature of time?
Yeah. Wow. Time does not exist in reality.
But it does in our current reality. Like we're not aligned with his God's perception and view. We're aligned with the ego. So does the ego experience linear time?
Yes, you said it right there, Stacy. Right now, let's just say you are the ego. You're not your soul self or your God self. Let's just say that right now, like hypothetically, he's saying. So who's the ego? In actuality, you do not even exist. This time does not exist, and you do not even exist as you see yourself to be. Oh boy, talk about getting it even more complicated.
Okay, no, it's cool. Let's just go with this. This is great.
Who is the ego? It's a fallacy. It's a false concept of who you are. It's not your soul's identity. Right now, you're not in touch with your soul's identity. You don't even know who or what your soul's identity is, or what that means, or what that feels like, or what that experience is. When Connie said she experienced a higher state of consciousness and how incredulous, beautiful, wonderful, loving, all of that, peaceful, blissful, that's experiencing more of your soul's identity, more of your soul's awareness and less of the ego's awareness. Your ego faded out a little bit, Connie, during that time. And soul awareness became a more direct experience, but then it faded away. Yes, it faded away. Ego came back in more as before, and that experience faded away. The ego is just a concept of who you are. A concept is not who you are. It's just a concept. It's imaginary. It's like illusory. It does not need to be fully understood to continue growing. This bigger and better, more thorough understanding comes automatically with increasing our awareness. Then more understanding and truth and knowingness through experience and knowing has nothing to do with beliefs. which comes from the mind. It has nothing to do with what we believe is right or wrong or accurate or true. Even that's a little hard to understand sometimes, isn't it? Like, the difference between believing this is true and knowing this is true. But there is definitely knowing something from a direct experience is different than your mind saying, I believe this is accurate or true. And it's two different things. But yeah, it's hard to, I'm glad you said that, Jesus, because it's hard to.
We will understand time more as we become more awakened, enlightened. We won't have to be explained to us. We'll just, we'll know is basically what he's
Yes.
saying. But
Yes.
so the ego is illusory. So therefore time is illusory is basically what he's saying.
Yes. And
But then
separation is illusory.
okay. But the
And
soul
fear is
is,
illusory. All the things from ego are illusory and are dropped away bit by bit by bit by bit until you fully transcend the ego identity. And that's not you anymore. You fully identify with your soul self, or your God self, your true self. Wow, it seems like such a long process.
be patient, Miss Connie, be patient.
Yeah.
Okay, so if our soul, there's so much to wrap in here. If our soul is like basically can be anywhere at any time, and it's almost like we could multiply, are there other illusory portions of me having a different parallel timeline right now? And can we jump in between?
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that clearly.
You can experience every form in existence. Eventually, that's what like full like unity consciousness is. You experience all beings, all forms on Earth, on all planets, in all galaxies, in all dimensions, all other beings. You are the one experiencing in many, many different forms, different existences, different galaxies, different planets, different dimensions. And there is a unique part of you that is not replicated anywhere else. So there is no other exact being like you anywhere else. No. But there are many different beings everywhere else. And you are them as much as you are yourself. And in time, your consciousness will expand and you'll realize I am also that person I'm talking to in front of me. I am also that person over there that I can see, at a distance. I'm also that bird in the sky that's flying right now. I'm also that tree right over there. I'm also this squirrel experiencing something. So that will come in time. Or awareness is not limited to this tiny shell of a body. It expands and grows beyond that. And you realize you're everyone. Wow.
I imagine, because he said everybody was, you're unique. I imagined like a snowstorm where every snowflake is got its own pattern. So
Oh, what a great example.
you're the snowflake. You're every snowflake, but you're also the storm.
Right.
I don't know. That's just the visual that popped in my head of
That's a
like
great example. That's a great analogy.
it
And
could
that's
be
true.
one.
They say every snowflake there's no two identical snowflakes.
Yeah, they're all different.
So, and that's how it is with us. Jesus, like every single one of us is unique in that way. Yes.
Huh. Interesting. That's a trip.
Yeah, that is.
Thank you for that. That was pretty mind blowing stuff right there.
One of the experiences I had, I was eating some fruit, and this was a couple weeks or a couple months I had in between jobs. And so I was meditating 45 minutes twice a day as usual. I had been for many years already. And, I was just eating ideally. I was hiking in the, mountains with my dogs a couple hours every morning, eating perfectly. I started juicing. I started doing like 15 minutes of yoga twice a day, and then some breathing, practice pranayama, 10 minutes of pranayama breathing before each meditation, and just I enhanced my daily spiritual program because I had the time. And then one of the experiences I had is where, and I feel that this is a partial experience of what they call unity consciousness, because I was eating this fruit, this grape and banana with a fork. And then right there, I just realized I had so much love and gratitude for this fruit. And the fruit was literally alive. And it had all this love and gratitude to me that I was eating it and appreciating it, and it was going to nourish me. And then I had so much love and gratitude for it. And then I literally actually became one with the fruit, where I was the fruit and the fruit was me. And we were actually, and there was so much love and gratitude and bliss. I was like, it's such a state of bliss, and had so much love and gratitude to God for existence. Just even this precious moment of sitting here and existing and eating this fruit, and how beautiful, what a gift that was. Anyway, it's just, I wish I could feel like that again. Just pinch myself and make myself feel like that again. And it was just, it was experiencing God in that moment as well. And I literally became one with this fruit. Words could never even describe the love, the gratitude, the bliss, the devotion to God, to the fruit, to myself, to existence, to life itself. And, then that kind of faded away later.
You basically transcended your limited Connie consciousness and expanded into the fruit.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You said that
became one.
perfectly. And it expanded beyond just, my human self. You're totally right. It'd be interesting to get, to hear other people's experiences where they've had a spiritual experience or a spiritual awakening of some sort, or even it was temporary. I know, and I think it's kind of typical. I think they kind of come and go and come and go. In most cases, there are people like Eckhart Tolle that has a full spiritual awakening and is established in that instantly, or Byron Katie. Who else has had that? Just overnight, they're enlightened. And at least in a state of some level of God consciousness, and they're established in that instantly. I don't think that's so common. I think as you're living life that's conducive for spiritual growth, you tap into that, and then it fades away, and then you tap into it more and it fades away. And as time, you're able to maintain that or sustain it longer and longer. But it'd be interesting to hear some other people's experiences, their spiritual experiences, where they've experienced the presence of God more, or just the presence of love more. Or it's always neat to hear other people's experiences, because we help each other learn and grow by that. And it's just really can be so interesting hearing.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this and you've had some unexplainable something happen, tell us your story in the comments, or shoot us an email if you're not comfortable sharing it, publicly in the comments. Everything will be below in the video description box. So
That'd be neat to
give us
hear some other
your
people's
experiences, and we'd love to share them if you want us to talk about them on air. But share, link, comment, click, email. Just give us some stories of what's happened to you and your experiences with unity consciousness. Okay, that was really interesting segment there for Ask Heaven. I'm going to ask one more question, and this is from SV in Chicago. She wants to know, why do some religions say any kind of communication with spirit is wrong? And these same religions speak of everlasting life after death, but consider spirit communication to be either, quote, witchcraft or prohibited.
what?
I feel it's like the fear of being misguided in general. Like, oh, that might be the devil in disguise. That's talking
or a
to.
wolf that's
In sheep's clothing. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So why do so many religions feel you can have a priest or you can have a prophet, and typically they're male, so they're going to have a heyday with us? But why
That's true, though, I guess, huh?
Yeah, why can they get spiritual messages because they are in the church and stuff, but everyday person, if they get something like that, oh, it's the devil, or it should be a threat, or why is it prohibited to communicate to you, God?
Yeah, a lot of religions, or at least some of them anyway, feel that channelers such as myself, or people that can communicate to spirit, angels, Jesus, other spirit of the deceased, or whomever, is like Satan's work. But it is kind of ironic. But if it's the priest or the pastor or whatever, they can communicate to Jesus or God or angels, or and then that's okay. Or it's a good question. Why is that? They want to be the God of that person's understanding. They want to be glorified, glorifying the ego. Being able to control others glorifies the ego, makes you feel powerful, makes you feel special. The ego loves that. The ego always wants more of that. It wants to become bigger. And there are so many different ways to enlarge the ego's identity or the ego. Religions, especially, do not like anyone being able to find God directly. They want them to only think they can find God through them, so they can like control their thinking, their behavior, be special, be powerful, be bigger than, better than. I'm more godly, I'm more evolved. This is all like glorification of the ego and just kind of the ego's ways. Any religion that does not honor and support individual God consciousness, and that's always from within. No one else is involved ever. It's you and God, the creator, alone. And everyone has their own path that's right for them. And that changes all the time also. As they grow and evolve, that will change in time. There's no one path, one way, one belief system that's the right way for everyone or this way. That's all ego glorification, mind control. Always support each other experiencing God from within. And that is an individual experience. You do not need anyone, anything outside of yourself for God awareness. So
What about the people that are, oh, I murdered my whole family and then killed myself because God made me, I heard God's voice and he made me do it.
yeah,
What about those kind of situations where you're like cult level type,
right.
really deranged behavior?
Right. There are a lot of different forms of sickness, imbalances, sicknesses, mental sicknesses, physical sicknesses, spiritual sicknesses, maladies. Bring each other up, lift each other up, bring each other up by helping each other be healthier, happier, more peaceful, more abundant, more comfortable. Help each other grow spiritually, help each other heal, help each other have what they need. Just help each other. This is what you're all here for, to help each other heal and grow to becoming whole again in your direct experience. And then all of these sicknesses, dysfunctions of whatever form dissipate away in time.
All right, beautiful. So we shouldn't be afraid. Actually, this is really funny, and I will bring up the story. It's not really funny. It's validation that what you just said, because I was raised Catholic and I remember going to confession, and I think you're in like second grade. And so, they prep us for this, and we have to go into this dark little wooden cubicle, and the priest, who, I'm in a small town, I know who's going to hear my sins. And so I'm going in there, I'm all nervous. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm 7, 8 years old. What sins? I don't think of myself as a sinner. What are the worst things I could have done by the age of 7 or 8 that I have to go confess to a priest? So I'm all
Gosh.
nervous. I'm building up. It's my turn to go. And I sit down and I completely made up a false story because I didn't know what to say. I lied. I said something about my brother. I put gum in my brother's hair. I don't even know what I made up some story. And I remember going
Think
back
about
to the
it.
pew, do my 20 Hail Marys or whatever. And I was just like in complete and utter, I was distraught. And I was just like, I just created a lie and told this guy because I needed to say something. And then at that moment, I go, I don't understand why I need a middleman to God. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And so at
Wow.
that point, I was like, "Psst, I'm never doing that again. I don't need a middleman. My relationship," and I figured this out at
I was going to say to like have that thought or even thinking at the age 7, 8 is pretty remarkable. It's
yeah, I don't
unusual, I
remember
think.
exactly when confession was, but it was young grade school. But I remember thinking, that makes no sense. I should just have a direct relationship with God. If I need to talk to God, I'll talk to him myself. I don't need to go tell this guy to,
Oh,
it's not like telephone. It didn't make, yeah, it never made any sense to me.
wow. That's amazing that you felt that and thought that at age 7, 8, because, most of us are just conditioned to just follow what we're told, do what we're told, and just go along. Like,
Yeah. And my parents definitely don't ruffle feathers, and they're kind of like the do as you told. So I don't know where I came from, but question that right away. Like, no, I don't like that. That seems
yeah,
weird.
I mean,
They just really like to beat that. Like, you're a sinner. Confess your sins. I'm a pretty good kid. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. And then I lied, which was like, that's terrible.
felt that
I
you
made up
needed to
a
come up with
story to fit in.
something to like conform,
Yeah.
or please them.
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh, that's sad.
thank you for that validation, Jesus. You don't need anybody else. It's you and God. Um, and
Right.
that keeps you going.
Yeah.
Connection.
I was raised Lutheran, so I never needed to experience confession or,
The
I never
Christian
went through
guilt.
that. But yeah, that sounds a little, seems very odd to me to go tell a human man and that
Right?
human man can have you be forgiven by God.
Yeah,
Anyway, it sounds a little,
it never sat well with me from a
right. But
young
yeah,
age.
that's
So
amazing
yeah.
that you didn't sit well with you at age 7, 8. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
So thank you. Thank you for validating of that. Let's get into our next segment because we're stretching this episode pretty far. So where it says Heaven's View, and we are going to get Heaven's View on a current affair topic. And I don't want this one to go super long because this could be a very long answer. But we have a lot of conflict in the world right now. We have Ukraine and Russia bombing each other, and then things just got intense this last week with Iran and Israel exchanging bombs, and then the United States came in and dropped a few bunker busters.
Right.
And we got nuclear. We're on the edge of World War III. So people are prophesizing that these are the end times. Are they the end times? Will there be an Antichrist and an Armageddon?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, those are some awesome questions. I would love to, yeah, get Jay's take on that. And we'll be going over those next
Yeah,
time,
we'll
right?
go more in depth. Just is there such a thing as an end time? Will the world ever come to end? Will God allow that? Let's start there.
Yeah. There will never not be human beings on Earth. Humanity becoming obsolete will never happen. No. God will not allow that to happen. It is a time of destruction coming on Earth. Yes. I would like to talk more about this. And let's make this the main topic or theme for next week's video because I want people to know more about what's coming, why, and how to stay in faith during challenging times, and how to prepare yourselves and your loved ones for what is coming ahead and be in a better place, a better situation, and how to help support others during this time and help others during this time more. It's a it's a big part of what I would like to talk about with everyone because it is, valid subject um, now.
Okay. Well, we look forward to that in our next episode.
Yeah.
What about an antichrist? Is there such a thing? Is there going to be some man who kind of is the epitome of Satan and all evil that will try to become a globalist, one world leader, and enslave everybody and give them the mark of the beast and all that kind of stuff as
Yeah.
recognized in Revelation?
Right. Is there an antichrist that's either a being of some sort or groups of beings, people, or maybe different beings and not people, or just any antichrist? Yes, there is. And that time is coming. And that is um, part of why this destruction is happening and coming. A new life on earth is coming. Peace, harmony, love, and joy. Like a life on earth, how our Father wants all of you to live your true self, and without basically the fear that's created all adversity on earth in existence is all from fear. Many different manifestations and creations and dysfunctions and everything. And um, I will be coming back again, also in human form. Wow. So there is an Antichrist.
Will he be singular, or will he be the representation of a country or the World Economic Forum, or you know what I mean? Like, is it a group of people, or is it one like
Yeah,
human person?
it's a force. It's a demonic force.
Okay.
It's an energy. It's a force. It's a momentum. It's a power. It's invisible power that some people will follow. Some beings from other galaxies will follow. Some beings from other dimensions will follow. And some will follow the love, the peace, the harmony, the goodness, the godliness, the God, or God. Me, meaning Jesus. And there is a war between good and evil coming. Yes. So there are many that will be included in the so-called Antichrist. And when we are free of the belief in it, then I will be coming back again to celebrate with you, not to conquer any Antichrist. That will already be accomplished, but to join with you in love and happiness and rejoicing and um,
So the
um,
battle's up to us.
yes, yes, yes. There is much to discuss about it, much to prepare for it, much to know about it that will make these times easier, more understandable, and being positioned in a better place. Many things, helping others more so.
Well, I'm glad we've got you on our side and that you're here to give us guidance through this. I don't know, I feel like most people can feel that this is coming. If you're what slightly
You know, that's so
attuned,
true. Yeah. Even just a
it
few
shouldn't
years
be,
ago or so,
yeah,
that might have not been the case, but I think it's many
it shouldn't
people
be
can kind of
shocking.
feel or see that
Yeah.
kind of in the works already. Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a huge, shock to most people to hear that. But a lot of people, I think they're like, oh, well, I believe in Jesus, so he's coming at the end and we're all going to be saved by him. So sounds like no, better buckle up, better start spiritually growing because it's going to fall on us. And it sounds like we'll be victorious, though, because he's coming preemptively to celebrate with us. I mean, he does say nothing is stronger than the power of God and God's love. So, I mean, that makes sense. And it's kind of reassuring to go into
Beautifully
this.
said, Stacy. It's so true, so true. Yeah.
All right.
If we're aligned with God's love, we'll be safe, protected, and well. And that makes it really simple, just remembering that one. Yeah, but so true.
If any of these comments, questions, answers resonated with you, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, share, help us get the message out for people to prepare for what they already can feel in their hearts is coming. Any last closing prayers, remarks? Jay will wrap up episode 3 here of Help from Heaven.
He's saying a prayer. So this is Jesus, and he's saying, Father, thank you for loving us and bringing us together to help raise the consciousness of humanity and to awaken everyone's heart's love to you, our creator of all. I love you, Father.
Amen. Well, thank you. We're going to
Amen.
close episode 3 with that. And look forward to I'm a little scared, a little nervous about the next one, but
Yeah, that's going to be definitely a little, but
but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, it'll
So,
definitely be interesting to hear more about that, what's going
so
on
yeah,
in the world and what Jesus recommends and all of
yeah,
that. Yeah.
comment your questions down below if for the next episode if you have anything coming up about, World War III or Armageddon or Battle of Good and Evil that's coming up. We look forward to answering those in the future
Yes.
episode.